here we are. This is another day and it's another video, and one I was hoping not to make. What I've got here is a hinge for the passenger door, and the reason why I'm not particularly happy is it was probably only about maybe just over a month ago that I had to do the hinge on the driver's door, and that caused well, shall we say blood, sweat and tears, probably literally. I had quite a few problems with it, but I eventually got it done. Let's show you what we're talking about. So this is the driver's door, and as you can see, that's now fixed. Now let's have a look at the passenger door. Okay, this is the passenger door, and you can see that's what's happened. Now you've got probably three choices. One, you could take it to Fiat. They will probably charge you a couple of £100 for labour. You could order a door handle, which will cost about £25. Or you can order a hinge, which probably costs somewhere between £7 to £10. This time I've gone for the hinge. I'll show you why. This was what I bought last time to do the driver's door. And you can see that with the driver's door you're going to need to have one with the place for the door lock, and you're going to have to transfer the current lock to the handle that you bought. The problem with this one was there doesn't seem to be much of a thread in the end there, which then meant that I couldn't fix it at the where the door opens. So in the end I took the hinge out of that one and then put that one in the driver's door. This was quite annoying because I'd already fitted that handle and then found that the handle's got to come out. I've got to transfer the lock back into the original driver's door handle, and then get the hinge from that, put that into the driver's door. So in the end I only use a hinge from it anyway, so I thought this time I'm just going to buy the hinge. It's up to you what you get, but if you want to change the entire handle, but that was my experience with getting this one, and it meant that the job took even longer because I was actually at the point of having that handle fitted, only to find out the whole thing's got to come back out again. Right, so let's get the passenger door done. Things to do first. You need to get into that, take that off, get into that and take that off. There's one screw behind there, there's two behind here. Okay. You can see now that's just starting to come. Right, I'm going to take this one off and I'll take this off. Right, so that's off. You can see you've got, and that's off. And you can see the three screws. Okay, and that is what's holding it on. Those four clips at the back. Right, to get it off you need a T30 head. Now, if you're doing the driver's side, there will be two connections behind this card. On the passenger side, just one. One connection will be for the door handle, that, There'll be like a sort of cable going to it. If you're doing the driver's side, you will also have a cable for the controlling the mirrors. Okay, so that's the 3 screws out. They're all the same type, so it doesn't really matter if you swap them around or anything else like that for when they come to go back in again. Next thing, to get the door off, the door is held in with like lots of plastic wall plugs, sort of wall plugs. We'll see when it comes off. To get this off, you need to work around starting at the bottom, work around from left to right on the 3 sides, and then finally push upwards and it will come off at the top. Remember, you've got a cable at the back, which then also needs to be removed. On this, I changed the speaker not that long ago, so I'm actually quite annoyed that just when I thought I'd put everything back together again, I've now got to take the door card off again to get at the hinge on the door lock. But hopefully once this is done, won't need changing for a while. So let's get this off. I found the best way to try to do it is get this behind and then try to push against the metal so that the door is pushing that way. So you're sort of levering it towards you. Okay, you can now see it's actually lifted out of the, come on focus, there we go, actually lifted out of the plugs. So now we're going to go straight upwards and off. Now if you look at the back of the door, you can see this is what you were taking out. So they're like little grippy plugs. You can see there's another one on the top. And if you want to get some spare ones, that's what they look like, because if you do manage to foul one up or snap it or anything else like that, that's what you're going to be getting. You can see it just sort of pops into the plastic. And now for the really annoying thing. Because I changed the speaker, I sort of went as overboard as I could with things like sound deadening insulation. I'm now going to have to destroy some of my lovely pattern to actually get inside. You won't see this if you've not done this before. What you will see is like a white membrane, something like a papery type of material, and you can see where it used to be stuck. You can either try to remove it, or you can cut it and then use duct tape to then repair. Just going past. And then use duct tape to repair the hole that you've made, but you need to get into that bit there. While you're here, if you want to change the speakers, might be a good idea to have a good look at the speakers, in case you want to do that on a future job, or even do it at the same time, because probably don't want to take your door panel off any more than you have to. That cable there is what was going into the back of the door card. That goes into that bit there. Next thing, okay, you've got a connection there. I think from what I remember, that is the only thing that's holding the door handle on here, that bit. Oh, little spider, the other way. Now, from what I remember, you need to take off that screw there. Okay, if you look inside, there's 2 linkages. Or in fact, Is there one on this side? Looks like one, but anyway, that one there, that's the one that has to come off. Now, be careful with that clip that you don't lose it. Right, there's another clip at the, well, I say a clip, it's like at the top there, the metal pokes into a piece of plastic. What you might find is that if you're too aggressive with it, that piece of plastic may not be very grippy at the end of the job, and you don't want this linkage to come out again. So what I did is that when on the driver's side, I wrapped a little piece of insulation tape around the top there, just to make the end of the rod a little bit bigger so that it gripped into the plastic tighter. And then there you can actually get these clips, but what I did on the driver's side, because I didn't have any spare ones at the time, is I used a small zip tie and wrapped that round, because what happened a couple of days after I got everything back together, that linkage fell out, which meant you've got to then take the door to pieces again. So yeah, you can see why this was blood, sweat and tears, because this was like, I don't know, the fates were against me. So, touch wood, if I had anyone with me, the driver's side hasn't come out since. So yeah, that plastic, it will be a bit worn when you come to put it back in, and you don't want this thing to come out again. So I put cable tie around the bottom and a little bit of insulation tape around the top, and then that made it more grippy, and it hasn't come out since. Right, to show you further what I mean regarding the top bit there, if you look on that, you can then see that was a piece of plastic that's at the top, or something similar to it. So if that's got a bit worn, that was what was possibly one end of it where it was dropping out. Now you can see there the linkage is now out of the plastic. You need to sort of lift, well, in fact I'll do a better picture of it in a second. Okay, that there is similar to that. So you need to sort of pop out that bit, and then the linkage will go to the left. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this, which is where the broken hinge is, before it starts scratching up the bodywork. I'm going to stop filming a bit because I want to get both fingers onto this. Okay, and you can now see that is out. Okay, let's get the rest of the handle off. Now, from what I remember, I think it's just one nut, and I think on this side you only have to take one linkage out. On the other side I think you have to deal with two, and then move the handle that way, so towards the front of the car. Let's try that. Yeah, so that end is out, and I think it is just that on the passenger side, just that one linkage, the one nut, and then the one screw that's in the end, and it does actually slide to the front of the vehicle, so there's nothing else holding it. Now we need to get the whole thing out that way. Okay, you can sort of see it starting to wiggle its way out. Get the rest of it out. Okay, success. Now I did have to remove the linkage because I wasn't sure whether it was going to come out or not, so I took the whole thing out. You can see that's where it's going to go back into when we put it back together. But as I said last time, if you look at that, it's like it's open slightly, so that was a loose grip. you can either change that or do what I did and put a bit of insulation tape around the metal on there just to thicken that up, and then put it back in there. Right, but anyway, for now the handle is out, and if I come round to the door, right, so what I'm going to do is we'll clean that up, and then we'll put the replacement hinge in, and then we'll stick it back together again. And there we have success. So that was quite easy. Undo the screwdriver, undo the Phillips screw, put the new hinge in. There's like a little metal bar that goes in to give you the hinge effect. And now we can start putting it back together. Now, if this was the driver's side, you'd also have to swap the barrel across. That is just so the you'd have to take the lock out of the driver's handle and then put it into the replacement if you're replacing the entire handle. If you're not, well, that's it. If you are taking the lock out, it's only held in by a little circlip, and then you can just swap the barrel across. But because this is all we've got, I'll start putting it all back together again. Right, that's the door cleaned up with some alcohol wipes. Then what you need to do, squash that bit down so it'll pop into there, and then tuck in on that side and then slide across, and then that bit is going to go inside the car door, which is where you're going to put the nut back on. And we're nearly there. You have to sort of tuck in on that side, squash the hinge bit, the handle down, and then pop it across. Now we've got to tighten that up and tighten the nut up on the inside. And there we go. So once you've actually got it through, do the screw up that's on the end to push it, the lock across towards the back of the car, then do that second, and then if you have a look at the hinge, okay, now what I've done is I put a small amount of tape around the top, and I've got the clip back in there. Right, basically you put the bottom end of the linkage into the plastic hole, and then you rotate round until you clip it back into place. But I'm going to reinforce that with a zip tie as well. We'll see if that makes any difference, because last time I didn't do it, and then a couple of days later I had the linkage fall out. Okay, probably not the best, but you can possibly see that I put a little cable tie around the bottom as well. You could actually replace that piece of plastic if you want. Hopefully that won't come out. If I go back a little bit, that will work better. Okay, one other thing that I want to sort of point out, at the moment I've got a torch in the door. Remember to take the torch and anything else out of the door before you put it all back together again. Okay, I'm nearly there. Now, what you need to do is look in at the sides, line up the plugs with the holes all the way around, and then gradually push in with the palm of your hand, and you'll hear little cracking sounds as it pushes in and grips. And then after that, we'll put the 3 screws back in and the clips back in, and then we're done. So, moment of truth. So, locked. And unlock. Done. Thanks for watching.